Here's something I've learned living in Bali that took me a pretty long time to fully understand. This island speeds up your karma like nowhere else I've ever been. Things move really fast here. So what I mean is, whatever it is that you need to look at, Bali will show you fast and probably a little bit more loudly and more harshly than you may like. It'll show you your patterns, your lessons, the things that you have been avoiding, and you're going to have to face them or face the consequences of the chaos that will ensue. And by ensue, I mean pretty much almost immediately. And really, there is a fork in the road every time this kind of thing happens. Take the lesson, take responsibility for what it is that's happening, and ride the wave of what your soul needs you to experience. Or you can attribute it all to things that are external, that are outside of you, that have absolutely nothing to do with you, and kick and scream your way through the experience. So today I want to talk about the karmic quickness of this place, how to actually see what's happening while it's happening, and really what to do to make the most of the experience that this magical land is trying to invite you into. I promise it's not trying to punish you, unless it's trying to expel you from the place, which, look, it sometimes happens. But I'm talking about the karmic lessons here, and how to make your experience in Bali that much more beautiful, reverential, and transformational. By the way, how beautiful is my neighborhood up in the heights of Canggu. I recorded a walk and talk, my first one, 6 months ago exactly. It's Galungan again, and the festival of good triumphing over evil. And when the ancestors come home to visit the family for 10 days, you better clean up. So yeah, I thought it would be a nice little point to record another walk and talk. Now, before I fully dive in, a word of warning. This video is not your normal Bali video. I really do tend to go very woo-woo, and I own my woo. So if you're really looking for the super practical tips, how to get your visa, where to go to the gym, cafes to go to, like, look, I love all the above, but that's not my jam. It's not my stuff. Is it, puppy? No, it's not. So that's not for you if this is what you're looking for. And so hopefully all of the normies are gone now, and it's just you and me, the weirdos, who are still here. Okay, so this video has been inspired by an interaction that I had about a week ago with a fellow who had been really loving Bali. He'd been enjoying it, and he had recently arrived from a country to our south, the one I'm from. But it's not where he's from, but he'd been living in Australia for a while. Anyway, he'd arrived and he was enjoying himself, and he was doing some work here. And then about a week later, I bumped into him again, and he was flustered and in a bit of a state, and talking about how he was leaving the very next day, because he had been kind of, maybe going to stay for a longer period of time, and, he had been considering stuff. But he was like, I'm leaving. And I was like, oh, why? What's going on? And he said, I've had this issue with every single guest house and like motel thing that I've been staying in. I've had this issue of mold being like rife, and which is really odd to me because I know it's around, and particularly in the Ubud area where it's a lot wetter. But in Canggu, look, I've never experienced like a whole heap of it, but I know Anyway, he apparently checked into 5 separate hostels, guest houses, and each of them had this issue. And he was having other chaotic things happen as well in his time. Other things had been happening as well. Anyway, he said to me, Bali's like a birthday cake that's beautifully iced, and when you cut into it, you don't know if you're going to get cake or if you're going to get shit. And so I was just, I was not in the business of, needing to tell him anything at that point because he was very much decided on his path. He was leaving, like nothing was going to deter him, and he was, ready to go. So this I've seen time and time and time again with people who arrive in Bali and think that this island is a normal island. It is not. It is an energy portal. It is a vortex. It is the ley line meeting point of receiving and giving of energy. Like it's literally, you will receive and you will give your gifts. It is like Mount Agung is the clearinghouse for the world. The energy is potent here and it speeds up so much of your experience. And what usually takes years in other places takes merely moments and minutes here, which you can make work for you, or you can really suffer through it. And I really do feel like in this whole experience that you're having, Bali is not punishing you. It's accelerating you to look at the things that you need to actually look at, to examine what it is you may not have been fully aware of elsewhere, wherever you've come from. When you land on this land, it is medicine, and you can either choose to spit it out and suffer the consequences, or swallow it and experience some of the most magnificent, magical, miraculous things that almost just defy explanation. And they do defy explanation because life becomes magical when you let yourself take the medicine, when you let yourself move with the island energy, move with what it's inviting you into, and not resisting it, surrendering to what the moment is calling for. And sometimes that moment is staying very, very still and not moving. Sometimes it is really helping to excavate your gifts or invite you into more resilience. Like there is so much that you will be invited into if you are a willing participant. And you will see things transform so quickly. I swear to you. So when you let yourself turn inwards, instead of looking outside and pointing at all of the things that you see are not great or need to be improved or whatever, and you start to go within, things shift and change, and the wind changes and the sails move and your boat starts sailing in a different direction to the one that you thought it was going down. And you have to let yourself do that if you want to thrive in this place, regardless of whether you're here for a week or a month or a year or indefinitely. This is what you need to come to terms with. And when you can let yourself read the situation, reflect on what's going on, and let yourself embody the lesson, things move and shift, truly. I see this with my own life all the time. I see this, it's almost like even when I'm driving on my scooter, my internal state will be often reflected in the traffic or in whatever is occurring. Like if there's something on the street, like look, one of my favorite little dogs is arriving. I've seen this pup grow up since it was a little puppy. I really want you to know this. The same speed that flattens people is the same speed that moves mountains and miracles for you if you let yourself experience the lesson that Bali is inviting you into. If you don't, that's when things get really iffy. But truly, the kind of magic you can unleash here, it is beyond. And it's not surface level. It is deep. It is truly the transformational experience from a soul level, on a soul level. Bali will always reflect your biggest lessons back to you. The only real question is whether you are willing to look. If you are, it's the most incredible accelerator you will ever experience. And if you're not, it'll just keep getting harder until you do. If you find that I am speaking your language, or that this is the kind of thing you want to hear about Bali, I have so many other videos on it. I have a Kali and Bali series. And this YouTube channel also covers all things energetics, your empath nature, because I'm sure you're a sensitive being that really feels things if you're interested in a video like this. Anyway, I would love for you to join, so please hit subscribe, comment below. Have you experienced the karmic quickening of Bali? Tell me your story. I want to hear. I gather them. Honestly, I have tens at least. Not in the hundreds yet, but at least, like, definitely in the tens of stories that reflect exactly this. Anyway, I am sending you so much love, and I'll see you next time. Mwah. Just quickly, see these penjor that are up in the high street of where I live in Babakan. They are usually just these small little bamboo things. The bamboo just kind of leans. And the sheer size of these penjor in my area are a sign that business has been going well. And it's so interesting, having been through a few Galangan and Kuningans before while living here. This year is the most impressive penjors I have seen in this area, which means wealth is here. Hey, wealth is around. It is bustling. See how massive they are. They've even got lights. I mean, truly.